Hello, my name's Brian Nelson, and I will be talking to you today about Australia's national electricity market. My role in AEMO is to manage the electricity market monitoring team. We are responsible for the national dispatch process, monitoring market outcomes and trends, and ensuring our activities have minimal impact on the efficient operation of the market. I have around 40 years' experience working in the electricity industry in Australia. In today's talk, I will be covering our electricity system, the features of the national electricity market, cover some recent experiences with weather and the COVID-19 pandemic, and I'll be looking at renewable integration work that we have been doing. This map shows Australia in comparison to Colombia. Australia is a very large continent, almost as big as the United States, but the main difference is the centre is almost empty. Our population centres are spread around the coastal fringes on the east and west of the continent, but otherwise it's sparsely populated. Electricity in Australia is governed by four bodies. The Australian Energy Regulator is responsible for economic regulation of networks and rule enforcement. The Australian Energy Market Commission is responsible for rule changes and development of the strategic direction of market policy. The Australian Energy Market Operator, or AEMO, is responsible for operation of the markets in gas, electricity and retail sectors. We're also responsible for registration and settlement in the market and provide substantial technical input into the operation of the power system. The Energy Security Board is comprised of the chief executives of AEMO, AEMC and AER, and was recently established by the Council of Australian Governments to oversee the development of energy markets. Its main body of work relates to the post-2025 NEM design to support long-term integration of renewables. In the physical sense, the NEM comprises loads and generation connected to the eastern grid. The NEM delivers electricity to market customers on an interconnected power system that stretches more than 4,100 kilometres from Port Douglas in the north in Queensland to Port Lincoln in South Australia on the southwest end. Some key facts about the grid. The power system interconnectors that connect adjacent regions include New South Wales to Victoria, established in 1959, Victoria to South Australia, established in 1990, Queensland to New South Wales, using two networks, one established in 2000 and another in 2001, and Tasmania to Victoria, which is Basslink, established in 2006. It operates at voltages ranging from 500 kV, 330, 275, 220, and down to 66 kV. We have about 260 generators ranging in size from 18 megawatts up to 750 megawatts with an installed capacity of approximately 54,000 megawatts. Maximum demand has been 40,000 megawatts and the total value of electricity is about $16.5 billion in a year. Currently we supply 10 million customers. The remaining part of the network, covering the Northern Territory, is under the control of the government there. AEMO operates the power system and manages the wholesale markets in the National Electricity Market, or NEM, and the Wholesale Electricity Market, or WEM. The map shows the Southwest Interconnected System, or SWIS, in the state of Western Australia, which operates under the WEM. This is a separate market design and won't be covered in detail here. There are a number of other smaller networks supplying centres throughout Western Australia. I will now talk about some of the features and challenges of the national electricity market in its current form. I have split this into three components: market, physical, and networks. You may be aware of other designs around the world that use local marginal pricing, such as PJM or Texas in the United States or in New Zealand. The market model of the NEM uses a regional pricing model based on the 5 states that participate. The central dispatch process runs every 5 minutes to produce prices and give instructions to generators when the price is high enough. Loads such as batteries and pumped storage also bid into the market to be descheduled when the price is low enough. The prices are averaged to produce a 30-minute price used to collect money from customers and pay money to generators. This is called settlement of the market. There's no explicit capacity payment and no gate closure, so participants can rebid as late as our technology will allow. The physical system comprises loads and networks and generators. Generators above 30 megawatts are scheduled. Variable renewable energy, such as wind and solar, are semi-scheduled. This means they receive dispatch targets, but are obliged to follow them only if there is a network limit in place. There are 6 ancillary services to provide frequency response following a contingency, and another 2 frequency regulation services. AEMO is responsible for power system security and reliability. Security refers to the ability to stay within the technical limits following a contingency. Reliability refers to the adequacy of supply. That is, there's enough reserves in place to continue supply electricity if a generator unexpectedly trips out of service. Networks in the NEM are regulated. Transmission network service providers receive an asset-based income, and augmentations must undergo a regulatory investment test. Network losses and constraints are incorporated into the market using equations that describe transfer limits of the network. AEMO also publishes a number of planning documents, the Statement of Opportunities, the Integrated System Plan, and our Renewable Integration Study. Connections to the network are agreed between proponents and network operators. AEMO is responsible to ensure new generated connections do not impact on secure operation of the system. I will now discuss challenges facing the NEM. In 2016, during a series of severe storms, South Australia experienced a statewide blackout. After investigations, AEMO identified a critical shortage of system strength existed in South Australia and has been intervening in the market regularly since then. However, since December, we've experienced a period of extremes in weather, from heat, low humidity, bushfires, rain and thunderstorms, which has caused a number of disruptions to the power system and have challenged our ability to operate it. Having made it through the bushfires, a particularly vicious storm blew over a 500 kV transmission line that disconnected South Australia, a smelter and a power station from the bulk of the network, being separated from the other regions for nearly 3 weeks. Finally, COVID-19 pandemic has affected everyone around the world. Since commencing in 1998, the NEM has experienced 3 periods of higher prices, resulting from increased demand, a carbon price, and a reduction in reserve following plant retirements. However, in 2020, prices have generally fallen, due in part to the reduction in international energy prices. This is shown in the first chart. The second chart shows AEMO interventions over the last 3 or so years. Interventions have been mostly for system strength, and 2020 looks to be on target to be the highest year on record. COVID-19 has had an impact on Australia, but not as much as many other countries in the world. There was an early reduction in demand of between 5 and 10% in some regions, but demand is now back to normal levels for winter. There have been no other market impacts that could be attributed to COVID-19. I have already mentioned much of the impacts of last summer, but recently AEMO published its summer operations review. It's worth noting that the thermal generation fleet generally functioned as expected, with the major impacts in generation being on wind and solar, particularly during the extreme heat periods. During summer, AEMO also activated emergency reserves to reduce the chance of load shedding. There is a link at the end of this presentation to that report. Finally, I'd like to have a look at AEMO's Renewable Integration Study. AEMO has been at the forefront of this work in Australia, and we have recently published the Stage 1 Renewables Integration Study, which will be of interest to people that would like to know more about the sort of challenges that we face in Australia. AEMO's Renewable Integration Study is a comprehensive review of challenges and actions associated with integrating renewables into the Australian power system. The study identified system operability, integrated distributed photovoltaics, frequency management, system strength, and resource adequacy as the main challenges to be addressed. Changes to the market design, new system services, visibility to AEMO, and regulatory change will be needed to ensure the long-term viability of the power system to customers. These are part of a program of work being coordinated by the Energy Security Board, aimed at having a new market design in place after 2025. That concludes my presentation. I've included here a number of links to some of the documents I have referred to in today's presentation, as well as to the other NEM regulatory bodies. The Energy Security Board has made a number of recommendations to change the NEM design after 2025, which follows the retirement of a number of our larger synchronous plant. It relates to how we expect to be able to operate the system with a large influx of renewable generation. I would like to thank the United States Energy Association for the opportunity to present to you, and wish you all the best. Thank you.